Fighting a foreclosure is no easy feat. It takes a toll on your pride, your emotions, and your wallet. My next guest is a Florida foreclosure attorney who says he has a new model he uses for his clients to pay. Peter Ticktin is back. He's of the Ticktin Law Group, and he joins us now. Peter, good to see you.
Good to see you, too.
All right, so tell me what this new model is. How are you getting your clients to pay? A lot of these people have no money.
Well, what we do is we generally take a small monthly fee from our clients, and then at the end of the case, in the event that we're successful, we have a contingency fee minus whatever they paid us up until then, minus whatever it is that we collected from the banks.
So
it's sort of like if someone... Okay, go ahead.
No, finish what you were going to say about contingency fees.
Okay, if you had someone who lost a leg in an accident and they brought suit, and the lawyer then in Florida generally would charge, let's say they got $1 million, the lawyer would end up getting 40% of the $1 million that they get. Well, here in a foreclosure action, at the end of the day, if we're successful and we defeat the mortgage, then we've gotten equity back for our client. But they don't have a pile of money coming in the way you do with a motor vehicle accident or a case like that. So
Correct.
Basically what we do is we got the equity back for the client, and we share in that equity by getting a 40% contingency, minus whatever we got from the bank, minus whatever they paid us so far.
So let's work this out a little bit. Let's say you had a $500,000 home. The judge agrees, or the bank decides to eat $200,000. You now have a $300,000 mortgage. You have, in essence, saved $200,000. You're going to take 40% of that. How? Because it's debt. It's not equity. It's not cash. Do you take out a second loan? How does it work?
If the client actually has funds, they want to pay, that would be fine. If they want to secure it with a, what we generally do is we secure it with a mortgage on the property. We've gotten them the equity.
You secure it with a mortgage on the property. Do you write a new mortgage?
We write a new mortgage, yes. And, generally speaking, what we do is we actually reduce it down. I know that our retainer agreements give us 40%, but generally we work it out. We'll never take a mortgage that's going to put the home upside down again.
Well, it's interesting what you're saying. Your critics have described this as creepy and crass. Do you agree? How do you respond?
Well, I would say that people who use those words probably are creepy and crass. I don't think that they knew what they were talking about. In the newspaper article in the New York Times, the reporter who wrote the article was very sharp, David Steinfeld, but I think that the editors dumbed it down a little bit, and they decided to call this a second mortgage that the lawyers are getting. They're just getting contingency fees, and it's only a way of securing those fees. But it's not a second mortgage, as we understand that.
You essentially own part of their debt. Is that right? Unless they have the capacity to pay you.
Generally speaking, unless we actually cause them to win or seriously reduce their obligation to the bank, they don't owe us anything on the contingency. If you take the example that you gave me.
Isn't that because you own their mortgage?
No. You take your example, for instance, where there's $200,000 left on the mortgage, but the house is only worth $200,000 because it was upside down. We don't take a mortgage at all, because for us to take a mortgage for our fees would then put that property upside down, and it's not what we do with our clients.
How do you get your contingency? How do you get your contingency in the case where someone's had $200,000 worth of debt canceled, eaten by the bank? How do you get your contingency? You said you take out a new mortgage. How does that work?
Well, just that way. In other words, we don't take out a new mortgage. The homeowner, if they have the equity in their home to secure their obligation, will give us a mortgage to secure it. But we reduce usually the interest rate to next to nothing. These are not saleable. Nobody else can get these mortgages. We never would foreclose on them. And ultimately, when the property is sold, or when they refinance, because we make sure they've got equity in their home so that they will refinance if they choose to, then at that point, then we get paid and they get paid. We share that pile of money that we basically won for the client the same way as you would with a motor vehicle accident or anything else.
I'm having a hard time understanding how you get your contingency and how it's paid in the event that someone can't pay in cash. Can you tell me one more time? Because I think everybody listening is probably confused as well.
All right. At the end of the day, if we don't win, if we don't reduce that mortgage seriously, and I'm not talking about modifications because they don't really have them. The banks have put us in a position where either we win or we lose generally. So assuming we win and we wipe out a mortgage on a house, let's say it's a house that's got a $500,000 mortgage on it and it's gone. Well, that homeowner now owns their house without that $500,000 of an encumbrance on that property anymore.
Right.
In other words, we got them back the equity in their house.
And how do you share in that?
So, you know, well, then we would take a mortgage for $200,000 of that $500,000 that we got for them. In other words, the client just won $300,000. That's as good as money in their pocket. And we win the $200,000. But it's not money. It's only equity. And if and when the client ever decides to sell the house or refinance, that's when they turn their equity into money. And that's when we would get paid. I'll tell you something, we've got 3,000 clients. They all understand it. This is spelled out to them in detail when we sign them up, and they love it because they want to have a lawyer that will fight for them, that is, what's the word?
Well,
you know,
I'm not going to say what your critics say. Peter Ticktin, thanks for your time today and for coming on and explaining your business strategy here. It sounds like it must be pretty lucrative for you. We appreciate your time.
Yes, thank you. I appreciate being here.
Holiday shopping season is in full swing, and with tons of purchases, many stores will try and sell you a discount if you can get their credit card. We're covering your assets with a look at the dangers of store credit cards. Stay with Fox Business, the power to prosper.